slogans. I mean, obviously, you are a Ron Paul supporter who founded the Tea Parties, and it's now been taken over kind of by the Republican Party to a certain extent, but we're staying in there so they don't fully co-opt them. But slogans, I mean, somehow you've got to identify that you're the real McCoy, that these are establishment fakes, and that we want to try something new. We want to go with a Ron Paul type woman. I mean, we need you. Have you guys begun to craft some type of slogan or some type of stunt to I mean, that's what it is. That's what gets attention. To go in there and identify Kay Bailey. I mean, do you want to, here on air right now, call out Kay Bailey Hutchinson for being a Bilderberg Group steering committee member?
Kay Perry, Rick Hutchison, that's what I've been saying. You know, there's not much difference between the two. We've seen that time and time in elections. I think many of us saw that in the presidential campaign last time. We saw a lot of the same people pulling the strings. I think we've seen Obama be much more aggressive than we thought he might be, but certainly most of us recognize that it's some higher-ups and some one-worlders that are kind of dictating things. We see that in Texas, even in our leadership and our governor. I just met today with the Texas Association of Manufacturers, and I was told by an individual there on more than one occasion today, we're scared. Our members are scared. I said, that's a pretty big indictment. When you are scared of your elected officials for fear of the influence and the impact that they could have on your business, when you don't walk the line that they set out for you to walk, we've got a real problem in this country. We better wake up and we better make some changes and put some people in office who have the courage and the backbone to stand on those limited principles of our Constitution and govern in accord with that.
Medina for Texas.com. We're going to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about why they're scared. We need a governor to lead a states' rights resistance under the 10th and 9th Amendment and say no to the carbon tax. We're going to talk about your game plan if the people bust their hind end and get you in as our governor. Debra Medina is our guest in studio. I'm Alex Jones.
If you've got mold, you've got a problem. But if you have Moldzyme, you have a solution. Everyone at one time or another will encounter mold in their homes. It's unsightly and can affect your health. Moldzyme from Eco Discoveries is the only safe and effective solution for cleaning mold and mildew and eliminating odor. Moldzyme is safe for any surface: wood, concrete, tile, stucco, wallpaper, vinyl or aluminum siding, painted surfaces, and more, both inside and outside your home.
I use Moldzyme in my bathroom, basement, garage, and deck. Everywhere I see mold, it's magic in a bottle.
Moldzyme is non-toxic, safe for the environment, your family, pets, and plants. Contains no chlorine, bleach, ammonia, or nasty smell. Plus, it's easy to order. Call toll-free 866-767-2832 or go to moldzyme.com. That's 866-767-2832 or MOLDZYME.com. That's moldzyme.com. Use promo code RADIO for 25% off your order from Eco Discoveries. Moldzyme, now safe has an effective side.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, it seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realist, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Remain in your houses. The President of the United States has declared martial law under Executive Order 11,004.
Will they do it? Will they pull the trigger this time? We all pray they stand down, but an engineered crisis seems more likely with each passing day. Think it can't happen here? Executive Order 10990 locks down all highways. Executive Order 10995 seizes control of all media outlets. Executive Order 10998 controls all farms and food supplies. All these executive orders are now cocked, loaded, and waiting for the right crisis. So if you're worried about the possibility of martial law here in America or have questions about how to survive it, go to martiallawsurvival.com. That's martiallawsurvival.com. Go to martiallawsurvival.com right now.
You must remain in your houses until your bracelets are scanned.
Debra Medina is our guest. Short segment right now. Coming back with a long segment. We'll take your calls at 1-800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. Debra Medina for Texas. MedinaforTexas.com for governor. Okay, you talk about Texas manufacturers. The whole country's being deindustrialized. We're going to end up like Detroit. I just sent 2 camera guys for 4 days up to Detroit. They said it's worse than what the news is saying. Time magazine had the cover, the fall of Detroit. It's the whole state. Whole blocks in nice areas collapsing, vines growing up, crime everywhere, government taxes only being raised. Texas and the rest of the country, California is already a failed state. People better be scared. And if we can get a real governor in there to implement the 10th and 9th Amendment and say, we're not implementing your global UN carbon tax to foreign banks, we could save this state and set the example to turn the tide. California's been used as the beta test for big government globalism. Texas should be and has the people to be the leaders to reignite the flame of liberty on the long march to our destiny of freedom. Debra Medina, as governor, what are you going to do to stop the globalist agenda?
You're going to nullify all federal law that overreaches the authority of the U.S. Constitution. You know, Thomas Jefferson told the folks that were afraid of the federal government getting into our business. States don't need to worry about that because it is the unquestionable right of the state to determine when the federal government steps outside of the Constitution and to nullify any law. Texas hasn't lifted a finger to nullify anything under Perry's leadership. We have got to start nullifying. I'm traveling around Texas saying, can you imagine what it would be like if we nullified intervention into agriculture and we told farmers and ranchers in Texas, you want to plant it, you want to grow it, you want to sell it, get out there and get after it. What if we told our energy sector, you want to produce, get out there and get after it. We'll keep the federal government off your back. We need the Texas legislature nullifying law, and we need the Texas governor as the head of the executive branch of this great state interposing against federal law enforcement where it oversteps the bounds of the Constitution. Interposition, nullification, the 2 tools available to the state. Long before we talk about secession, we ought to be aggressively using nullification, interposition. We haven't even lifted a finger.
And by the way, Perry says he's against NAFTA and GATT and against the Trans-Texas Corridor when he's the guy always pushing it. He literally goes up there, puts on this act. I've been in the same restaurant with Perry when he's meeting with people. It's all intellectual talk. He's all very graceful. But then when he goes out, he's like, I'm a cowboy. We're going to secede. Woohoo. Then the New York Times says, what do you mean? He goes, oh, that's just a joke. See, instead of having real states' rights and the states asserting its sovereignty, not seceding, instead he bypasses that and goes, we're going to secede, and puts on a fake, good old boy accent. I mean, it's fake as a $3 bill.
He's a very good campaigner. People need to remember that. He's smooth and he's suave and he says what he needs to say to get elected. I think people are waking up. I think people all across the state are waking up. The 912 groups, the Tea Party groups are some indication that that's happening.